And for our mindfulness meditation together, let me, as always, first invite you just to be still. Find a nice, comfortable position for your body. Any position is absolutely fine as long as it's comfortable for you. Let your eyes close and your mind remain awake. And with your lips together, breathing in and out through your nose and from your stomach area, allow your body to breathe all by itself. Let it find its own natural breath rhythm, relaxation breath. In your stillness with your breath, with your eyes closed and your mind awake, you are now relaxing. And in this mindfulness meditation, we're going to use the mind as a thinking tool. We're going to use the faculty of our consciousness to arrive at a greater sense of happiness, strength, calmness, and feelings of well-being inside our bodies. Okay. The stories that we tell ourselves about the events of our lives create the emotions that we feel about those events, as you know. In mindfulness meditation, we have the opportunity to consciously and skillfully choose the story that we wish to have about any event that has taken place in our life. Most of us have experienced a large and broad mixture of events over the years, some of them very pleasurable, some of them really quite neutral, and some of them really very painful. And there are all the shades of grey in between. So let me now invite you to choose any one of those events. However, I'd like to specifically invite you to choose an event that you found fairly painful. Nothing too excruciating, nothing too large. Something that was perhaps really annoying, really aggravating, and unpleasant. But nothing too serious or too big. It'll make it easier to practice the art of authoring conscious stories for yourself. Okay, bring to mind an event that you found uncomfortable. With the images, the pictures, the thoughts, the words, the sounds, maybe even the tastes, the smells, the fragrances, maybe even the temperatures. Take a few moments just to remember that event. And as you bring it back into your mind, no doubt that the story that you tell yourself about that event is now present in your mind. Let's not judge the story, just allow it to be there. Notice the nature of this story, the way that you describe to yourself the event that took place. The chances are, if it was an uncomfortable event that makes you feel uncomfortable even now thinking about it, you have a negative story about that event. This is very understandable, for in our society, that is the agreed response, the agreed way of thinking about an uncomfortable event. We all have total permission from everyone to think as negatively as we wish about a negative event, and we call that logical and rational and realistic. And it is all of those things. However, From a spiritual perspective, we can actually choose to change the story that we have about that event in order to uplift ourselves, make ourselves feel stronger, and empower ourselves to continue the journey of life even more positively than before. Holding on to a negative story, even though it was a painful event that took place, will only serve to reduce your strength, to diminish your sense of lightness and enjoyment of life. In this meditation, the meditation itself invites you to choose a new story about that same event, a story that feels lighter inside your body as you think the story, as you narrate the story to yourself. My next invitation is this. As you endeavor to become the author of a new story to an old event, let me offer you these questions to ask yourself to help you create this new story. The first question is, would you be as wise as you are today if that event hadn't taken place? Did you glean or gain any knowledge at all or wisdom from that event? Did that event having taken place mean that since then you have changed your ways? Maybe you have changed yourself. Maybe you have changed the way that you think. Has that event meant that you now do things more wisely, more carefully, full of care, perhaps, maybe more mindfully? Did the existence of that difficult event in your life make you a more skilled person? Did it add skills to your toolbox? If the answer to any of these questions is yes, then you can use that awareness to create a new story. For example, the chances are that since that event has taken place, whatever it was and whenever it was, you have thought about it, you've contemplated it. And as you sit in the here and now right now, just notice what you've learned and gained. It might simply be wisdom, it might be knowledge, it might be a deeper understanding, it might be more awareness. It may even be the wish and the desire to be more mindful. It may be that you now have the desire to look after yourself more. That may mean a change of diet, a change of exercise, maybe a change in the way that you speak, the words that you choose. It may even be something much bigger than that. You may have chosen to live in a completely different way, maybe adopt a very different philosophy. Just take a moment to notice how that particular event has changed you for the better. Let me say that in another way. Take a moment to notice and become aware of the positive effects upon you of that negative event. What has it made you become more of? How has it made you better? Take a moment. Okay. These new thoughts that are now in your mind are the beginnings of the new story. Let me invite you now to think of 9 ways in which that old event has made you stronger, better, happier, wiser in some way. The number 9 is quite specifically chosen. You can think of as many as you wish, of course. However, my invitation is for you to think of 9 ways in which you have grown and benefited from that painful event. Let me offer you a few suggestions. You may wish to think about how it has made you physically healthier, if it did. How about more compassionate, more understanding of others' pain? Maybe you now choose far more carefully, with greater mindfulness, who you spend time with and how you spend time with people generally. How has that event changed the food that you put into your body? How has that event changed the way that you communicate with others? Has it changed the way that you communicate with yourself? Has it changed the speed at which you live life? Has it changed your home in any way? Have you rearranged maybe furniture or introduced new things into your home as a result? Has it changed your choice of words, both internally spoken to yourself and the way that you speak to others? These are just a few of the ways in which every life event enables us to grow and evolve into happier, stronger, healthier, more aware, more mindful, more peaceful, more loving and compassionate human beings. And the final question: if that event hadn't have happened, Would you be the person that you are today, sitting in meditation, in contemplation, mindfully, consciously growing, evolving, and learning? And as we arrive very gently at the end of our mindfulness meditation, let me invite you to notice the light coming in through your eyelids, the feeling of your body weight resting, and the solid ground underneath your feet. And when you're ready, simply open your eyes and notice how good you feel.